Hello, hello, hello! Welcome back for another night of VCS action. As always, I am Everyday, and with me is my good friend Yulwei. How are you feeling tonight, my boy?
Ah, rejuvenated. Yesterday was a long day. A
Oh
long,
yeah.
long day.
It was good though.
Man,
I enjoyed
it was
most of the
fun to
games.
watch, of course. The 6 game day, that way around, is quite exhausting sometimes as well, but let's go for another one today.
Oh,
Not this one,
Jesus, come
maybe.
on, man.
Maybe.
No, I admit I'd be down for it. A 6 game day is obviously super fun. You never know who's going to come out on top, and it shows that there's a bit of parity in the league, even if
Yeah.
we did have some one-sided games mixed in. But regardless, tonight we do have DBL coming off a disappointing loss last night. They looked like they might have been able to take it the whole way until there were a few crucial moments where they didn't quite know what to do, taking on Cerberus, who have a lot to prove.
That they do. Cerberus is a very strange team. So far, 2-2, as is DBL. So looking only at the standings, you could say, okay, those teams are equal, but are equals. But DBL's strength of schedule far superior. They 2-0 Team Secret. They 2-0 FTV, and they almost won against Flash yesterday. While Cerberus, whenever they faced a good team like GAM and Secret, they lost, and they only won against VGA and FTV. So Cerberus really needs to prove something to us here. They need to prove that they belong to the upper echelon, and I think they don't even need to win today, but they need to be competitive.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to see them go to three. If they can do that, I'm already pretty proud of them. If they can make it three close games, or potentially two close games that they lose and then a stomp, I'd be pretty happy for them on that one. We obviously got a little bit hyped around them, but I think we should talk a little bit about matchups, and I think it's going to be very important to have a look at the bot lane. There's a very
Yeah.
contested pick down there, and he's very contested pick in a lot of places, but particularly in this matchup, the Moon Boy,
Yeah,
it's Aphelios.
it's good. It's good to see that he's contested because we came into the VCS and we're questioning a lot of the priorities. Think back to Flash on the very first series against Adonis that they lost. Not Adonis, whatever team. Adonis was DBL. I'm sorry. Would need to take a quick look. It was against Evos, of course. But yeah, they came in and still drafted Zaya, Kaiser, and we were like, please start drafting 2020. But today we have Aphelios, most played champ between both teams in the bot lane. We have 5 picks on DBL's ADC Bikoro, who is also rocking a 9 KDA on the champ. So he's really
Hmm.
popping off. Yesterday, 2 deathless games against Flash. One of those was a loss. On the other side, Artemis, very flexible player, the only lane for Cerberus who is actually an elite at 15 in terms of CS. It's very slight though. It's only 2 CS, but it's good to see anyway.
Lead
And
to
the bot
lead,
lane,
right?
as you said, right? And the bot lane, as you said, is the crucial part for Cerberus and probably the strongest part of Cerberus so far this season. Artemis coming over from Flash, stepping out of the shadow of the big Slater, right? And Ronopi going back to form on his Leona, his favorite champ. It seems like 5 picks already. The two have carried Cerberus to a few victories here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. Rono P in particular is super, super impressive to me. Not just on the Leona, obviously, though that has been his best champion. He's played a few other champs that I've very, very much liked to see. Cerberus as well, worth noting, they play a very different style to the rest of the VCS. They're slow, they're measured. Sometimes they're not quite measured enough, uh, or even if they're
Yeah.
maybe too unaggressive at times. But it's different, and we're gonna have to see if DBL can sort of adapt to that style, play,
And that said,
try and
it's
play
quite
their game.
similar, right? It's quite similar to DBL style as well. DBL is one of our slower teams as well. So these are more of the slower on the slower end in terms of teams. A long game times as well. 31 minutes, 47 seconds for DBL on average, and 31 minutes, 16 seconds for Cerberus. Obviously, if you came from NA/LCS yesterday, these game times sound like like they're very short, but they're pretty long in VCS comparison. So um, DBL actually a little bit longer game time. I think they are the quintessential slow team. Cerberus is also quite macro focused. I'm not quite sure if the slowness for Cerberus in the early game especially comes from them wanting to play like this or them being unable to play a quicker game in the early game. Because sometimes it looks like the early stages of Cerberus game are the worst so far. 1.3k gold disadvantage at 15 minutes. Not the greatest. So yeah, they have to step up into the early game. DBL themselves not the greatest early game team, even though they're sitting on 6 and 4 in terms of game score, still behind on average in game in gold at 50 minutes.
Yeah, so with both of these teams potentially having that style, particularly DBL, as you point out, what can Cerberus do pick-wise to potentially get themselves out on a good footing? Other than that Aphelios, which we've talked about, and he's just a good pick. Regardless, but where can they potentially pick things up to get the early lead and get off on the right foot?
Honestly, I just want to see continuation of Cerberus's pick and ban trends. They have picked very meta, very strong composition as well. Compositions. Set, Mordekaiser, Renekton, maybe not the Renekton today, but Set, Mordekaiser, Aatrox, Purity in top lane. Sounds great. J4, Gragas, Rexa, Kiana in the jungle. All of those are great champs right now. Cassiopeia, Orianna, most played for Yado. Go for those. Artemis, as I said, can play every meta ADC, and then Ronald P probably goes back to his Leona or his Thresh, the two most successful champs. And I just like to see something in game. I think draft has been more than fine for Cerberus.
Yep, I absolutely agree. And speaking of draft, here we go. We are into the Champion Select. We'll be seeing what gets picked up for both of these teams. Apologize, just going to have to jump the screen just as I sort a little bit of production out, and just blame me because I'm but we are going to be truly in Champion Select now. Set being removed by Cerberus, that's not a surprise. We was
Nope.
second most pick ban champion in the league.
I also would like to point out Dashing Buffalo's strategy coming into the draft here. Starting off with Leona ban, we've talked at length about Rono P. Leona, and of course, Dashing Buffalo bans the way. So good to see their adaptation and their read coming into this series. They had to prepare for Flash and Cerberus this week, so you could expect them to maybe gloss over Cerberus a little bit to prepare for the Flash matchup, but they are definitely prepared today.
Yeah, certainly looks like it. I'm really liking both teams' bans. Super meta. Leona maybe doesn't hit the ban list as much against every team, but as you correctly identified, makes total sense here. Let's see what the first pick will be.
Oh, of course.
That why even bother saying what the first pick is going to be? Of course it's Aphelios.
And I think this is already a big mistake for Cerberus. We've seen Big Koro pop off on this champ. It's his most played this season, 5 games, 9 KDA. He's a great Aphelios player. Yesterday, he almost carried his team to victory in the last game, if not for the big blunders in the mid lane there after giving up Ocean Soul. We don't want to go back to that, of
Let's
course.
Not talk about that. People got heated.
Responding with jungle and potentially ADC of their own. They could pick up MF here. A little bit risky into the potential Braum. They could also just go for support.
I don't really like the MF pick. I'd like to see potentially a Braum of their own. Block the Ornn pick. But they've gone the Thresh. That's actually not too bad, denying the Thresh Aphelios combo. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot yesterday. Thresh Aphelios was our premier bot lane combination for Dashing Buffalo yesterday, so really like to see this adaptation as well, as we also get to see the Viking again. Meliodas goes back to one of his favorite champs. Also played it twice yesterday, so it's now most played champ of the season, together with Lee Sin and Elise for him.
Yeah, so far these are looking like two very strong drafts, I say, as a Renekton is being hovered and locked in. Well, before that, they were looking very, very strong on both sides. I really liked the Braum pick by DBL because it blocked the MF, so it did force a bit of a lower tier. And they also banned the Ornn, another smart move around that Braum pick.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm liking it. I question the Renekton. I don't think Renekton needed to be picked though.
So now the question becomes: what will Cerberus slot into the bot lane? Artemis has played Zarya before this season, probably the most likely ADC here. You could still go with the MF. She struggles a little bit in the team fights, of course, into Braum. Most people still like to play her, even though there's a Braum. So we might actually still see the MF. So MF, Zarya, potentially Sen. I don't think Senna on this. Oh, it's still 10-2, right? So Senna could still come in here as well. Yeah, Kaiser. Those are the potential candidates for Artemis here.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'd like to see the Zarya. I think Zarya is a very strong... I mean, she's not very strong, but when you can't go Aphelios and MF is kind of blocked... Ooh, I like that, though. The snake is in for Yardo, assuming. Could technically go to the bot lane, but I don't think it will. A very, very strong pick that we have seen in the VCS so far. Now, DBL needs to pick their solo lanes.
Whoa, we are going back to the Worlds Matter, it seems like.
Even?
That is hype. Okay, there we go.
Alright,
So
the Quinn counter pick.
The Korean team counter pick into Renekton Elise. Cleanse top lane the Quinn. And just out-roam him, outscale him in the side lane, 1v1.
Yeah.
I also like to see Noel back on his most played champ career-wise, not only this season. This is Zoe, and obviously the Cassiopeia. Oh no, he's actually going to Syndra. That's interesting as well.
I like that.
So,
Syndra's a strong pick.
They went heavy on the early, very strong lanes in the top side now for Dashing Buffaloes, with a little bit of a late game insurance in Aphelios and maybe the side laning from Quinn. But 5v5 doesn't look too great on their side now. They don't have a great front line. Olaf falls off.
I'm not a big fan of this Kiana pick. Ooh, Kiana into Olaf. We've seen how this goes. Particularly, we also saw Meliodas doing exactly that. Oh, it's Kiana mid. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Ignore me. Yeah, I like that though. Now I like it.
No ADC. We discussed ADCs, and Artemis goes to the Cassiopeia. That's our first bot lane Cassiopeia of the season.
Yep.
It's very good to see. I always like to see some mages on the meta, and especially Cassiopeia is just like an ADC, so it's good to see her down bot. We've seen a lot of the mid laners in the VCS dominate with this champ, especially Null. If you go to the Discord, you can find the link in the on the panels below. Yeah, there's a dedicated emote just to Null Cassiopeia, because he popped
Very
off
famous.
on that champ.
Absolutely, he did. That was a game where he very much had some heavy work to do, and he managed to get it done. So, whose draft are you favouring here in terms of, not so much in terms of scaling, because I feel like that's kind of obvious, and you did hit on it, but in terms of ease of execution, which I think is super valuable in the VCS?
It's for sure services. Dashing Buffalo's draft in the late game is not easy to play. This is not a good teamfight composition. If Piccolo gets a good lead and Hasmid can deny Renekton from getting to a tanky stage, then you can potentially teamfight, but we all know Quinn in teamfights, not something you want to have. So this is very much a Korean draft in terms of you need to 4-1 to win. And I don't know if Dashing Buffalo is good enough to do that, or if they can efficiently 4v1. But I mean, they played a little bit more like an LCK team so far, very slow, very methodical. So if maybe they scrimped some lower tier LCK teams or CK teams potentially, we've seen Cerberus do that. So those might be some scrim partners for Dashing Buffalo as well, and maybe they learned a lot from the world's counter pick here.
Yeah, very possible. Obviously, the Quinn pick has a bit of a colourful history in the VCS, shall we say.
Yeah.
One of the more... I mean, I think that was, the second series I casted of the VCS or something?
Yeah.
It was very early in me, and I was saying, oh boy, what have I signed myself up for here? When we had the infamous Neevster bringing out his Quinn, which got absolutely bodied, actually, by the man on the Quinn this game.
Yeah, by
He
Hasmet.
is the
One
one.
of Hasmet's breakout games. He
Yeah.
played Aatrox, got 5 solo kills on lane. Kryn proceeded to die to the Baron 1v1.
That's still
Oh
my.
no! Oh
Oh
no!
no! As we do have the 4-man, and there is the hook. This Olaf is sad. Oh, LL. I don't know about the flash, but they wanted to make sure the CC was layered. So I don't know if it was necessary, but the intention was good.
And we talked about Quinn being able to hold down Renekton, and Renekton starts with first blood.
Yep.
Nice work, Meliodas. Nice work. And we have timers today. I'm hyped for that.
Yeah, that is very exciting. Look at that. Thank you, Riot Villain. In taking a little bit of feedback. We love it. As now it's a bit of a rough situation here, as you said, for the Quinn. Thankfully, Renekton didn't back to take advantage of it. But what do you think of these starting items in the top lane?
Yeah, I mean, you know my stance on Cole. I'm not a fan.
As a
I think
first
it's
item,
not worth it.
do you think in this situation, doesn't Quinn not even need stats here though?
Yeah,
Quinn
I guess
Renekton early.
it's okay. I actually think in this matchup you can pretty much build whatever you want, and Quinn just wins as a champion. You can probably go for, I don't know, mana pots if they were still in the shop, but sadly they aren't. But yeah, she just can't lose trades into Renekton. I guess it's fine. It's less stats than Durance, and this makes her very squishy in the early game. If we get to see Zhu Hao roam up there, the Cull not having no health on it might actually make the difference between a Quinn that makes it out and a Quinn that gets instantly burst down. So it's a little bit of a risky purchase. But yeah, I have to agree, it's not as bad as most of the Culls we see. Also, Cull on an actual AD carry is that those are the champs Cole is intended for, right? Because you get a lifesteal on hit. So you need to hit to lifesteal. I hate Cole on all the champs that don't actually hit a lot. They just go for the Cole to get a little bit of extra money. 187, I think, is the total you get out of Cole. So
yeah, and it's also the question is, what is Quinn scaling towards? He's hardly a late game threat. I feel like you don't need to accelerate your build that much on Quinn, but regardless, it's not terrible.
Yeah, I think in terms of scaling, she is a late game threat for the side lanes, right? She can threaten solo kills on LL. Oh, there we go.
No, here we go. And here exactly what we're talking about. LL taking a lot of damage, but can Hasmed get the trade kill? I don't think so. There's the flash from Zhu, how horribly misses the cocoon, but it doesn't matter because he's on top of the Quinn and will get the bite down. And that is the second blood, because of course Meliodas did get caught, but the real first blood for Zhu Hao.
They counterpick top lane, and now top lane is 2 kills down, or top and jungle is 2 kills down, I should say. Not a great start for DBL. They can still recover. Hasmed didn't blow any summoners, so that's good to see. He knew he was dead, so the next gank shouldn't be too successful. No boots yet, though. I would have liked him to build the boots early to have an easier way out, but it seems like he values the pure AD and combat stats, which in the 1v1 is understandable, of course. I don't quite agree with it, considering Zhu Hao is roaming up there as well.
Yeah, it might just be because he sees the defensive start here by LL going the cloth armor and the bead, because maybe he needs a bit more damage to really stomp the lane in. But hard to make the call on which one's correct here. It is sort of going to depend if it ends up being the Zhu Hao camp. Obviously, if that happens, then the boots were definitely the way to go. But he might be making the call that the Renekton Elise won't be super present in his lane. I'm not sure if that's the right call, though. Hard to say.
And we've talked about Cerberus' storylines a little bit on earlier casts a few weeks ago, and talked about Artemis and Zhu Hao, the two players that want to step out of the shadows. Oh, okay.
Null, potentially in some trouble. Yep. No flash on Elise.
But we have reinforcements. especially on Cerberus'
Oh,
side.
wow. They're very close to the tower here. I'm not sure this bot lane roam is worth it. Ooh, the supreme display of talent does hit the tower, but is flashed away from. Both summoners burnt by Null. I don't necessarily think Artemis should have come up.
That was a very aggressive roam from Cerberus. They didn't really, waste a lot of. Okay, they wasted 1 minion wave and a little bit of reset timing for the bot lane, that is. But in terms of summoner spells, invested only the flash from Ron OP for both summoners on Null. So an okay trade, not the greatest, not the worst, but they get priority on bot side as well and will give themselves the first dragon of the game as well at 6 minutes. So the dragon snowball on the cards.
Yeah, it very, very much is. And once again, DBL losing an Ocean Drake. Let's hope they don't get too many flashbacks. Ooh, Hook does land here. Wow! Ron OP gets a free kill. They've brought Artemis in. Braum has absolutely nowhere to go. And Artemis will get a kill for his snake.
It's a 4-0 start for Cerberus. They are blowing DBL out of this game.
Yeah.
DBL with their slow approach is not reacting quickly enough. And Cerberus just gets kill after kill. And now 2 kills on the bot side and 2 kills for the bot lane as well.
Yeah.
So Artemis also off to a great start.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely want to see Artemis getting as much in the early game as we can. See if he can pop off on this Cassiopeia. We'd love to see it carry. We have, of course, as you said earlier, Cassiopeia has been very, very successful overall in the league, but not so much in the bot lane, much more mid lane. But here is the replay. Ron OP just bang. Got the magnet hook.
Elliot is still not level 6. Braum also shouldn't have come to his rescue there. Just gave up his life for free. A kill over to Artemis, not a great thing to give over. And speaking of Artemis, just wanted to quickly go back to the earlier point that got rudely interrupted by VCS action, as always.
Yep.
Artemis and Zhu Hao, those are the 2 players stepping out of the shadow of Meliodas and, of course, Slater. Zhu Hao was the substitute jungler for DBL, so this is actually a grudge match for him.
Yeah,
he wants
absolutely.
to beat his former team and show them that they retained the wrong jungler, that he was the one to build.
Yeah, I mean, that would be very much a good little point of pride for him. Have to see if they can really actually get that going, as Rift Herald is started up here by Cerberus. Control of the early objectives is the word I'm looking for, as I completely lost it. Of course, they do have the 1.3k gold lead and pressure in all lanes, so this makes total sense. And so far, a fantastic start for Cerberus. And I think we were identified that they sort of needed it. They needed to get off on the right foot. And so far, it looks like they're already breaking into a bit of a sprint.
Yeah, and Cerberus showing a very strong early game, good rotation here as well. This should be so more big. Solo plays for Artemis. This might actually be the turret as well.
Yeah, it will be.
Wow.
Ooh, that's a
perfect usage of Shelly. As we all know, you want to use it on the last 2 plates because she deals true damage, and the turret plating fortification makes the turret harder to take the lower it gets. So they get the first turret, and now it's a 3k gold lead at 10 minutes. A lot of gold funneled into the into Artemis, the Cassiopeia, and she needs a lot of gold to scale. So that is very good to see. Cerberus right now is looking at a game where they can't ever lose a team fight. So
yep. Ooh, and there is High going down. I presume he was just caught by a hook and went straight
another good
down.
hook from Ron OP, showing us that he can indeed play more than just the Leona that got banned from him in the first phase. So ban not really paying off.
Hitting a Thresh hook's just like hitting a Zenith Blade, right? Completely the same. You just double tap Q so it behaves the same, right? No, but Ron OP continuing a very impressive run. Even in the losses that Cerberus has had, I've been impressed by Ron OP. Definitely stepping up this split. So, the one thing I wanted to comment on is that Husmed has not... Oh, we'll do it after this replay, as I just getting caught.
Oh, it's actually... Okay. It's
actually the cocoon. Okay.
Yep. Okay, credit to Zhu Hao this time. Nicely done.
Yep.
I mean, it wasn't too hard, but still good. Glad to see the execution. Okay,
Ooh,
we
and
continue with the
wow,
action.
this is non-stop. Null taking a lot of damage, tries to return onto Yado and does do a lot. Can the Kiana get away from the
And
Viking? No, Meliodas will get that kill, but the Cocoon lands at max range. Ron OP probably shouldn't have taken that kill, but in the end it's secured. Null now on the run. Elise flashes forward,
one
needs
more
one more
auto-attack.
auto,
Yep.
and throws the
There we go.
flower.
Okay, 2 more kills for Cerberus, 1 kill back to DBL, but it's only kill to utterly useless in this game. So it's still a good acceleration for Cerberus. They are still getting more plates, more gold, more objectives on the map. So this early game is looking super impressive for them.
Yeah.
DBL is lost completely. They have no idea what to do. And look at the bot lane down there. Bikuro is the dog sitting in the house on fire. It's like, yeah, I'm farming. This is fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
not.
Another dragon being picked up. What rift are we going to head on to? Mountain or cloud? It is the cloud. Looking very good so far for Cerberus. As we keep saying, the point I was going to make before we got rudely interrupted once more by VCS constant fighting is that this Quinn counter pick has gone really badly. He's actually losing.
Yeah, started off very badly with the early first blood, then he got caught in the lane, and yeah, it doesn't really do a whole lot if you can't stomp on LL. I mean, the champion matchup will still turn in favor of Quinn if the game goes late. If Cerberus can't finish this game off in like 15, 20 minutes, Quinn will be able to threaten solo kills, but she's set very far behind. At least she got her call now, so 180 gold more than she should have, which, considering she lost the laning phase, is I guess
Helpful.
an investment. Yeah, but yeah, would she have lost the laning phase without Colt? Probably yes. So this time it's not the Colt's fault.
I know you want to be able to say it is the Cull's fault, but not this time. As again, Cerberus just looking so good. There's almost nothing we can say to fault them. It seems to just been correct decision after correct decision. The macro looking much, much better than...
Look at the gold for Cassiopeia.
Oh my word.
Ooh, almost 2k. So Cassiopeia can be a little bit of a tricky champ to execute in the later stages, but if you look at the team composition for DBL, hard CC is something they severely lack. They only really have Null stun to catch out Artemis, because even the Gravitum is not a stun, right? It's only a root. So that's not enough to stop Cassiopeia from murdering your team.
Yeah.
No hard CC on the jungler. Only really scatter the weak to stop her. And maybe the knockup from high, but that's very unreliable.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll obviously have a lantern as the extra safety net if everything does begin to go wrong. Overall, Artemis definitely in the gear to carry. Also want to shout out Zhuhao, who has the 100% kill participation so far. Looking very, very good on this Elise. Could potentially pull a ban in the next game. So far, they're looking pretty unstoppable around these players.
Yeah, and right now DBL is in a weird spot in this game where, okay, you're still actively playing the game and you're still looking for mistakes from the enemy team, and maybe you can capitalize, as Husband will just die another time.
Oh, no, manages to get away, just about. Well, I say get away, but there's nowhere to go, and Zhuhao will pick that.
And on the other side of the map, another kill to Artemis.
Ooh, fantastic petrifying gaze there, interrupting that. Jump into the air. I think Ron OP might be the sacrificial lamb. I question the stopwatch usage. Really, Artemis just should be getting away, trying to buy time. But
a little bit of a steal there for Null.
Yeah.
Should have given it over to his ADC, who's probably the only way they win this game. Aphelios being Aphelios and doing Aphelios things.
Yeah.
Potentially the only thing the DBL can do to win team fights, because everything else looks very dire.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely say that again. DBL has a big mountain to climb to get back into this game. If Cerberus lets them and doesn't push them back down. Artemis a little bit caught here, but he's got a lot of gold, but the form stun will be enough, and Big Koro gets a huge shutdown. Is this the beginning of the climb?
It's a very typical run of play at this minute because between 14 and 20 minutes, the map is very hard to play
Ooh,
as the winning
cleanse.
team. You don't really know what to do. You have knocked over a lot of turrets. You can move freely, but you're not tanky enough to do whatever you want. Because 10 minutes later, you can probably take 1v2, 2v3 fights. But right now, even though you have the gold lead, the items are not there yet. So right now, they still have to be careful to not throw away too much of the gold. We actually see teams lose a lot of their gold lead between 14 and 16 minutes a lot of the times because they get over aggressive. They don't know what to do with their time, and then they overextend, give up shutdowns, which just happened here as well. But they're still 4k gold and a great team composition ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think one of the really big problems here is that even if we do start to see Big Koro getting back, but no, Zhu Hao has been absolutely caught out here, was face checking that pixel brush, but flashes away, and his team is here to save him. So in the end, not punished too hard for what was a little bit of an over-aggressive play.
Would have been another 600 gold shutdown. So good that he got away. Now no flash available, no flash cocoon for fight potentially.
Ooh, Yado kind of caught out here. Has to go over the wall, but does get away. Be a dragon, but look at top lane.
Yeah, this is a big problem in the top lane, but taking the dragon is still pretty good for DBL, delaying or breaking the dragon spree for Cerberus and delaying the Elder Dragon, especially, not only the Soul, but also the Elder Dragon for 5 more minutes, which gives them more time to scale back into the game. This, I actually think DBL made the deliberate choice to give up the inhibitor there, and
yeah.
LL recognized that he shouldn't take the inhibitor this early in the game. Maybe he didn't. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. I'm not sure, but yeah, taking inhibitor.
Yado! Oh my god! Everything missed.
That was
not
a display of talent.
I mean, it wasn't it. The Kiana ult didn't even get used.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, yes, maybe she should have displayed her talent.
Yeah, she should have.
Perhaps DBL might be able to learn something. But the point I was getting at before, I mean, it's hard to get points out. You've got to be quick in the VCS before play-by-play has to take back over.
High-octane match.
Is that Meliodas, he's just useless. This Olaf does nothing this game.
And Olaf from behind into Cassiopeia, you might as well just AFK, honestly.
Yep, you will get kited forever. Do no damage.
Wow, Meliodas, seriously, stop that. You just took away the cannon minion. Please stop. Let your ADC have all the gold. Let him farm all your camps. You're useless. You're just a smite bot.
Yeah, it's true.
Please.
Genuinely.
You have 2 ADCs and a mid laner. They should get all the gold. There is no need to take away the cannon minion.
Yeah.
He's actually still keeping up in farm with the enemy jungler. In fact, he's ahead. So just maybe give it over to your ADC, who needs it more.
Yeah, I mean, very, very true. So, I mean, Big Koro seems to be like the only real chance for DBL to get back in here. We know Aphelios can do some very special things. So potentially could do something. He's obviously got that sick KDA on it, but he's almost an entire item. In fact, he is just an entire item behind Artemis. So they're going to have to find a pretty godlike way to stall. Obviously, getting that Cloud Drake did really help. That was pretty important.
Yeah. So they have a good amount of wave clear, especially if Big Koro is have his flamethrower available whenever they need the wave clear. Hasmed can push out waves quickly, but not very safely. So he needs to catch the waves and then fly away before the enemy team can collapse. So we'll have to see if he can do that. He's still 40 CS down in the counter matchup.
That's really bad. I mean, it didn't help him to defend Hasmed a bit, even though I don't think it was fully the reason why things have gone wrong. It doesn't help when Meliodas gets caught at level 1
no, it really
and instantly feeds your Renekton first blood. Definitely wasn't good.
And
Yado gets a little bit caught out here. Does use the Supreme Display of Talent, gets a lot of damage, but Hasmed gets that kill. But here comes the boys. Can they find a way to get away? Moonlight Vigil goes sailing through the uprights. Goal! But in the end, it is just the 1-for-0. And they managed to get away with a free kill.
And we actually saw a problem highlighted there with Cerberus' comp. They don't have the greatest chase. They Their backline carries especially can't really move too quickly into the or towards the enemy team. The Cassiopeia had no agency whatsoever in that fight.
The way they
They
have to
still
play
have a
it.
great. Sorry.
But that's how they have to play it. They've got to shut down the Cassiopeia as much as they can.
Yeah, but maybe just kite the Cassiopeia so that she can't catch up to you, because you can't take 5v5 team fights as DBL. I mean, at some point you have to, probably. From behind, it's very hard to play through side lanes only. You pretty much have to be ahead to play efficient 4-1 or 1v1.
They're starting up this Baron. This dies very, very quickly. Cassiopeia.
Yeah, I like this move. Just let the enemies come to you. You can't really chase into them, but if they chase into you, you have great defensive team fighting and re-engage. So good start. A little too quick on the turn, in my opinion. This actually gives DBL a lot of time now to work on the mid lane turret.
Yeah, I think they were just doing what you
Damage
coined quite correctly. Just a bit of a damage check. Just about the fourth boss of the raid. So it's just a bit of a DPS check. So you're dealing enough damage.
And they defended the turret in the end, because Yado didn't reset with the rest of the team, so he didn't need to. He has the item completed right now, so there's no need for him to reset. He has a pink ward still in his inventory, full HP. So I liked that they sent him there to defend the turret, and now they're in prime position to take the third dragon of the game for their team.
Absolutely. Threatening soul point. That's something that DBL should be getting used to by now. But thankfully it is not an Ocean Soul, and they should be able to trade it for the mid lane tower. Potentially, no. They get chased off before it goes down. Very, very close, but yeah, it is still up. No, it didn't quite make it. You never know with those turrets.
So absurd. Oh, man. Rono P was full HP, ran into a turret, and then got shot again.
Oh, there's the Supreme Display of Talent! Oh my god, absolutely massive! That Glacial Fissure into Gravitum should dissuade the engage, though. The talent was displayed, but there was no follow-up.
Did the damage get stopped by the Braum? I need to replay there. I think the damage actually got stopped by the Braum, but the stun didn't. That's
what it looked like. That's an interesting interaction. You'd think it would stop all or
both.
None.
Either both or none.
Yeah. Husband does get hooked. Baron secured. DBL wants to claim a couple kills.
Stun.
Oh, big stun, absolutely. LL doing so much damage to that backline. My god! He cuts Big Koro's head off. There's absolutely no chance for this Moon Boy to carry, and there's a hook onto the Syndra. Null is dead. It's all gone wrong. Cerberus coming out with Baron and a dominant team fight. Husband is running. Come on, get those wings pumping, Valor. Get your boy out of there, and manages to do it. But this should be a pretty free inhibitor, and the game is well and truly cracked open.
Absolutely. This was pretty much the last-ditch effort for the DBL to get back into the game, but Cerberus confirmed their great early game with a good team fight, strong turnaround for LL, as he pointed out on the play-by-play. He just turned around and murdered everyone in the back line. Very strong still, even without the Spear of Shojin. A lot of AD on his strong Renekton here, and he just killed Bikoro, and that was crucial in getting the team fight victory, because they struggled to fight into Bikoro beforehand, right? They were stopped by the Gravitum, even after the great display of talent. They couldn't chase.
Yep, very, very true. So again, we saw DBL coming into the comp of Cerberus. In the end, I can understand why they wanted to do that, to try and deny some Baron buffs. But again, going into this Cerberus team is very, very dangerous. And, well, we saw why.
Look at the itemization from Cassiopeia. Ooh,
I love it.
You don't want to ever fight her now. Oh man, there is so much damage. Now keep your eyes on especially LL here. Yeah. He's almost full HP.
Has the Dominus running.
Half HP.
Yep.
There we go. Oh, look at that.
Bang! My god. Press the attack into the swings. He just pretty much solo won the fight, but the rest of Cerberus did very, very well as well. Oof.
That they did. Especially Zhu Hao, still deathless. Great team fighting on the Elise as well, which is not easy to do. Elise sometimes can be quite useless in defense, at least not quite a Rek'Sai tier, in my opinion, especially for my head. She's still quite threatening to the
Yeah.
backline, a lot of assassination potential, not as useless as Rek'Sai, gliding in and doing absolutely nothing, just dying. So this is a good display for on the lease. I'm not sure about his itemization, but we'll not talk about that this game. Let's reserve that for a closer game where the itemization actually matters, because Cerberus is too far ahead. They can build whatever they want. And their wallets will just be too heavy for DBL.
Yep, LL getting chased off. But he will be just fine. The push is coming in. They're chasing this Renekton as their Nexus falls. Meliodas has just randomly died in the top lane. I think they're just trying to go for the stats. But in the end, it doesn't matter. The shutdown. Actually, they might be able to turn this now. Infernum ult. Can Cerberus pick up a Nexus tower? I don't think they can.
No. But when Infernum ult only tickles the enemy, you know you're in deep trouble.
It did force the push.
It was Infernum.
It got them out, though.
I think what got them out more was their Harsmith was team, because Infernum did like 200 damage to everyone. That is not relevant. So, Cloud Soul. Are you excited for Cloud Soul Renekton? We get to see the chase again. How did he kill Meliodas?
Just insane amount of Renekton damage. Just chopped him to bits. You know, I almost think he could have fought Husband.
I mean, if he had a Spear of Shojin from last year, this would have been an easy double kill. Like, the easiest double kill of
Yeah, thank God that item's gone.
Instantly. Yeah, it's a good thing they removed that item. Only made very few champs stronger, and those champs were obnoxious with it. So yeah, just get rid of it. And there's another item, Riot, that does the same. You know, Akali likes to build it. Your favorite item, the Gunblade.
The Gunblade. Another one that is just a little bit overpowered on the people that use it, as Artemis does get saved by the lantern. He just flashes straight forward. Husmed no longer exists. LL is in the backline doing as much as he can. He's in the 1v4. I don't know about just Artemis. LL's looking pretty hot as well. He does open up the kill. The Gravitum is used to slow down the Croc, but look, Big Courage is standing there. They know it's over. This will be game 1 for Cerberus, coming out absolutely dominant.
Yes. And in under 30 minutes, which is below both of these teams' game time, is a storm from Cerberus. Maybe DBL's schedule has actually not worked out too great for them after the disappointing loss yesterday. It's sometimes hard to recover this quickly, right? It's last game on Saturday into first game on Sunday. Very hard schedule. So we'll have to see if they can bounce back. And I'll show us a little bit of the flash impression. Lose game 1 in dominating fashion, then come back. This was a worrying sign for DBL. Yeah. They had no access to this game whatsoever. Their draft was very specific, very much needed to get ahead, and they were blown away from Cerberus.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it's a comp that had to get ahead, and they were behind from about 45 seconds into the game. With the... I mean, I have to praise Cerberus. That looked like it was really exploiting a tendency of Meliodas. Just knowing he was going to go there and having a Thresh ready to smack the hook in and just get a very, very strong snowball. The question has to be asked. Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, what else it showed as well is this comp is very practiced for Cerberus. This looked like a well-oiled machine. They never... Okay, in mid-game, there were those famous 4 or 5 minutes where you don't really know what to do around the map. If you're too far ahead, you're actually too far ahead at that point. They gave up a few shutdowns here and there, but in the end, they stabilized, tried a few team fights, saw, okay, we can't really chase. So what do we do to make them chase into us? We make this game about objectives. We start Baron. They need to come to us. We can turn. LL did so. Easy kill. So I really like this execution. It looked like a very well-trained team just executing on what they did in scrims.
Yeah, time and time absolutely. Again. But we have to ask ourselves the question, who was MVP of Game 1? It would have been easy if one player hadn't popped off a few times.
Yeah.
Like, we could have just said Artemis looked really good on the Cassiopeia, and then LL won them team fights.
And Zuhao was deathless as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I think think he kind of have to give it to LL in terms of game impact, because he won the crucial team fight. They could have potentially won the team fight without him, but we only saw what we saw, right? So he turned the team fight. He won the team fight. He got another good outplay on Meliodas. He got the first blood. He assisted in the first kill in the top lane as well. Got the snowball rolling. Never fell to the counter matchup. Actually won the counter matchup. So yeah, I think
Overall,
it
very
has
impressive.
to be LL.
Yep, we questioned the Renekton pick, but he definitely made it work, despite one of the worst matchups possible for the Croc. But we'll have to see if DBL can bounce back from a disappointing night last night and a very disappointing game one here. But Cerberus are looking very, very hot. Certainly could be the gatekeepers for DBL. We'll see you in, it's about a 7-minute pause, roundabout. We'll see you guys then. Thanks for tuning in. We hope to see you. Stick around.
And a quick shout out to the 2 donators yesterday.
Yep.
We appreciate it a lot. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. It means a lot to us. This is a lot of work and we love it, but there's a lot of games. There's a lot of games in the VCS. But thank you very much. We will see you in just a few minutes. Hello, hello, hello! Welcome back for Game 2 of Cerberus versus DBL. Cerberus looking hot, hot, hot in Game 1. DBL...
That they did.
DBL just didn't have much of a chance. What do they need to do here?
They didn't really get to play the game, in that game. Change picks on top and jungle. That's the first priority. Okay. I think everything else was fine. But I was not a big fan of the Quinn. I didn't see Meliodas do anything on Olaf, even though he played Olaf twice yesterday. He's not the NK. He doesn't really know what to do on the Olaf, it seems like. He has good games on him sometimes, but sometimes he just doesn't do anything. I just give him a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more of a stable jungler, maybe the J4 or maybe something more in that direction.
I'd like that.
Pan is in.
That is interesting.
In the top lane. The substitute top lane, a very young player, the youngest player as far as I'm aware. He only turned 17 on the 30th of July, if I remember correctly. We had a lot of discussion about him last year. So, yeah, he's super young. He's very exciting. He's a very good solo queue player and has had 4 games so far in the VCS, 2 wins, 2 losses. Looked good this season, looked very bad last season.
Yeah, he played 2 games last season and both of them were pretty horrific. I think he was put in a little bit, he was taken out of the oven before he was properly cooked, is the way to put it. But considering Hazmed had a pretty disastrous game 1, I can understand why they bring him in. They want to reset the mental a little bit. Makes sense to me. LL as well, going to be a big, big point. Shut down this game. Can't let him do that again.
I just wanted to say, I know a lot of you just came here because of the LCK pause, but who needs Faker if you can have Null? Who needs Ruler if you can have Artemis? And who needs a Lul state if you can have the Omega Lul state that is the VCS sometimes? So stay with us and
I was wondering where you were going with that. I was so confused, and then you brought out the Omega Lul state. That's fantastic. Very well done. But you say replace the top and jungle picks. I agree with you. Meliodas did look a little bit lost on the Olaf. What would you like to see replace them? And do you think they have to ban Renekton?
No, I don't think so. I don't think Renekton is the menace that he was last year. I think you can play tanks into Renekton lease. On has been picked by Pan once before. Maybe you get the Akali. Those are the 2 champs he has played. Very unlikely, of course, on red side. But yeah, I don't think you need to attack the Renekton or even ban Renekton or the elites. Just play something more safe into that. Don't go for the one-off, very high execution-based counter strategy. I like to I'm not actually super mad at them for trying it, because I like to see teams in the VCS trying good strategies from other regions, but you need to know what you're doing, and Hazmed didn't know what he was doing, so, or DBL as a whole. This was not that much on Hazmed. He didn't have a great game, but DBL overall just looked lost, looked outclassed even, you can say.
Yeah, which is definitely not what we expected to say. But we are heading into Champion Select straight away here. We will go ahead and flick over to that one. Now, the Mordekaiser are still being banned here from Cerberus. They clearly don't like the idea of playing up against it. It's interesting.
So this indicates that they still want to play through LL. Mordekaiser, of course, one of the best weak side top laners who can just stand there, take all the punishment because you can't really gank him post 6, and then he still scales well. He still has a fine laning phase. Some weaker matchups, some stronger matchups, of course. But usually it goes almost even in CS and then scales into team fights. It has a very strong ult, a very good utility tool. So yeah, I can understand what Cerberus is thinking when they go for the Mordekaiser ban, especially if they want to play through top lane. The set ban is a little bit irritating on blue side, I have to say. They want to go Akali first pick, but Dashing Buffalo should be able to recognize the app, and there it is. So now Aphelios is open.
Yep, and I would love to see it snapped up here for Cerberus. I don't think there is a better pick. The Tahm Kench ban is a little bit interesting. Potentially reading... I don't know what that means, honestly. What do you think this Tahm Kench ban is?
Yeah. So,
Go for the first pick
that
Elise.
Big change.
A lot of faith.
Giving over Aphelios once again. This might be the 5th game in succession for Bikoro and Aphelios.
Easy to look like a good AD player when you get Aphelios 5 times in a row.
Yeah, well, that is quite ridiculous. And interestingly, actually sitting on a 1-3 score in the last 4 games. Still had great games though. Yesterday against Flash, as I said before, 2 deathless games. One of those was a win. One of those was a loss. And even in the last game, he was the only player that couldn't really do anything there, or hadn't really done anything wrong in the game.
This Nautilus is just sitting bot lane.
It is. It gives them more initiation. I would have liked to see the Thresh, especially after Ronald P played a great Thresh game. Might just go back to the Thresh again. So Thresh is quickly catching up to the Leona for Ronald P. This would be the 4th time he played it in this season.
Yep, absolutely. And he looked pretty good on it last game, was hitting the crucial hooks. But no, they're going to lock the Xayah away instead. Could have gone MF Braum, but they opt away from that. Still could pick the Braum.
They could go for Xayah or Khan, right?
Yeah, that would make some sense.
Would be a very strong it would be super strong MSI comp from last year, or rotation from last year.
This doesn't make any sense. Why would you ban Tahm Kench and pick Blitzcrank?
That is super strange, indeed. Okay, Blitzcrank has seen rise to popularity. VCS, we have some players who get Blitzcrank target bans every game, like CBL and Flash. So seems like, and now instantly the response with the On, which I like a lot, because as we said before, On one of those champs that can withstand the pressure in the early and the top lane, and also they see the enemy team not locking Braum, instant On response. Great draft for.
It's really why I would have loved the MF Braum snap pick. MF obviously a super strong ADC just on her own, and the Braum blocked the Ornn pick, which is what Pun has played, and he looked good on it. So, bit questionable going the Xayah Blitzcrank, but perhaps Cerberus has something in the tank to bring out.
Yeah, look at that. 100% win rate so far on Blitzcrank.
That's quite something.
Yeah, and it's not like he's has only been played once. He's been played like 5 times, maybe. 10% pick rate, 4 or 5 times should be the number. CBL at least has played him twice, so
into Tahm Kench
1 or 2 other
players.
Yeah.
To be fair, those were not difficult for Blitzcrank.
Oh, I think even twice, right? Not.
Perhaps. Yeah.
I think he played him 3 times there.
I'm not sure. We'd have to check the stats, but he's definitely played it a few times. Regardless, he's not in this game. Jarvan being banned out there. Jarvan being banned out there, I like that. We commented that Jarvan could be a good pick for Meliodas. He won't be getting that one.
Yeah, I'm still a little concerned they don't prioritize jungle, because Meliodas is quite effective on a lot of champs, but on other champs he looks very lost. Give him a pathing jungler and he looks very weak. Give him a strong ganking jungler and he can be the best jungler in the VCS. So not a big fan of them.
Dear.
It's Meliodas.
This, for those that might have come because of the LCK runoff, or maybe you're just new to the VCS, this is a famously bad pick for Meliodas. He loves to pick it, but I don't think he's ever had a good performance on it. Well, maybe one or two.
Yeah,
it's not good.
It's a meme in the VCS community, Meliodas, because he has a very bad Lee Sin. I think this season he has looked a little bit better. He has played him twice already, and those were okay games. They won at least one of those games as well. So, yeah, I think it's a fine pick. Obviously, Lee Sin. A lot of the EU pros said nerf Lee Sin because all of them hate Lee Sin. He's way too strong in the eyes of many of the people there. So it seems like he's also a comfort champ, right?
Meliodas will make it seem very, very balanced.
Probably.
And we do have Cerberus rounding out a very strange draft, to say the least. That's going to be Tristana mid. You love it, but
yeah,
bit weird.
Yep, weird indeed. We have Tristana mid sitting on 100% win rate as well, but those are only 2 games for DR1, I think. So that's not saying too much. DR1 is winning on almost every champ.
Yeah, DR1 doesn't lose very much.
So it's a blind mid lane pick, and they went with the Tristana blind, which has almost no bad matchups in the mid lane. The only one I can think of is Cassiopeia. That's the only one I ever struggled with in the mid lane.
I think got all the way through draft here.
Yeah, it's interesting. So Null is one of our specialists on the LeBlanc, of course, probably the best LeBlanc in the league. And LeBlanc, LeBlanc Tristana. LeBlanc doesn't win lane against Tristana, but she can go for kills with her jungler. And LeBlanc Lee Sin is famously the strongest 2v2s in the game. So that's probably more the aim here for the LeBlanc pick. If you wanted to go for pure lane prowess, Cassiopeia would be a little stronger, especially because you cancel out the jump from the Tristana. But yeah, LeBlanc's still probably able to go even in CS, especially Null LeBlanc. And then you can look for more agency compared to the Tristana early in the game.
Yeah, and I feel like Cerberus has to get off to a pretty good start here. Well, they might be in some trouble because their team comp looks like it might struggle to get anything done later on in the game. Obviously, Kennen is always a decent engage tool with the Slicing Maelstrom. You always have the chance of just getting a hook that wins you the game. Blitzcrank, since the beginning of League of Legends, has been able to do that. But other than that, how do they actually get a fight to stick?
Yeah, it's a very strange team composition. Think back to the first pick. It was Elise first pick. And what did they build around the Elise? 2 strong laners. That's fair. So that's a good foundation to build a team composition. 2 strong laners in top and mid lane with Elise. Try to snowball top lane is what this draft says if you just look at the Elise first pick. But then you rounded the comp out with, okay, they picked it early, but if you just look at the champs, Xayah and Blitzcrank in the bot lane, Xayah, Blitzcrank, okay bot lane, actually quite strong. If you get a hook into Blade Caller, can instantly kill someone. So I don't disagree with this bot lane choice, but Rakan would have provided better team fighting, right? So you went for better pick instead of better team fighting in the bot lane. Then you also went for Cannon in the top lane because you needed AP threat. But Cannon, on the other hand, in this composition, especially with this lane matchup, would like to go AD actually, to go split push into Aeon, who can't cancel him out, right?
I don't know if we'll see that though. The VCS, we've had a few opportunities for it, but...
of course. But you have a super squishy, very explosive team composition with a lot of pick potential on Cocoon and the Grab, of course, 2 of the longest ranged abilities, single target CC abilities. So there's a lot of pick potential. They have pure 5v5 team fighting definitely goes in favor of DBL. They have way easier to execute composition. They have good peel with Lee Sin as well. They can use the Lee Sin as a peel tool against Cannon. Lee Sin actually super great against Cannon in team fights. You can just ult him away. So I would like to see Meliodas adapt his Lee Sin. What
That's how that
Okay.
works. That's how that works.
Yeah, I know. It just
It looks very
irritates me
silly.
every time I think. So yeah, I'd like to see Meliodas play defensive, like goalkeeper.
Oh,
Lee Sin
there's the
in this
hook
game.
early on, but it's returned by another hook. Both supports
Yeah,
starting out very
Hook
well.
City in the bot lane.
Yeah, and Artemis comes out considerably worse. He doesn't have a gun that gives him full damage and free healing.
Yep, that is true.
Very few ADCs do. Only one, really. But still not
Hopefully
anything
not for too much longer.
Just get rid of the heal. Make all his guns do the same thing. It can just be an aesthetic change.
Just make the heal gun do 50% damage.
Yep, and there is another hook. Rono P got the 100% hook rate. Clearly the best Blitzcrank on the planet. Has never missed a hook. At least in this game. And we'll have to see if he can continue getting some damage down. Has caused at least a pot. No, not even a pot. Unfortunately. Hasn't really meant anything, but still, good to look for them.
And it's a Blitzcrank with shoulder guards. Please get me out of here. Why? It's a 0.8 or even 1 scaling on the hook. Just get the AP. I hate the shoulder guards. 380 it is. Nice. You get 680 on his E. That is, of course, worth it.
Yeah, of course.
With 2 AP scalings.
Blitzcrank is totally about his damage, right? Not about anything else.
I mean, you still want to optimize damage.
Of course. Yeah, but...
And I think
Relic
Shield gives you more damage. I think so. Especially level 6.
Yeah, definitely at level 6 with static field. But looking at other lanes, it could be Meliodas looking for Yardo here. He is bound up, has to use the flash to get away from Meliodas. Good advantage early, taking away the safety from Tristana.
Yep, this is what I was talking about in Champion Select. This is more about the 2v2 pressure, 2v1 pressure. Because, this is a very easy to execute combination. Very much, a lot of damage, I wanted to say. A lot of damage, a lot of CC, good setup, good follow-up. This composition can do anything in the mid lane, mid-jungle. So, yeah, it's one of the premier mid-jungle duos right now around the world. Especially in the Western leagues. I've seen a lot of it, so...
Yeah. Blanc, definitely fully back in the meta. I know it hurts you to admit it. I know your hatred for... I mean, you must hate this game. Both drafts.
No, I actually like good to see good LeBlancs. I just don't like the champ in competitive because I think it narrows down your win conditions a lot. Not so much this season, so I'm kind of fine with LeBlanc right now.
All right. What about Cannon?
Oh, no. Cannon.
Both junglers. We could have a 2v2 up here in the top lane. LL uses the quick attack. Meliodas is here. Good cocoon. But they're going to go forward straight onto Cannon, and it will be first blood for Meliodas. Can they find anything more onto Zhu Hao? No, it'll just be damage. Getting him away from the lane.
Look at those challenger on mechanics. Nicely done from Pan.
Yep.
There was perfect timing on the QE combo. It's actually quite weird sometimes to use QE. Sometimes you use E too early and then you look very stupid if your Q is not up yet.
Yeah.
But he had the timing perfectly down to the millisecond there and got the knockup immediately. No chance for LL to respond. And now it's on and Lee Sin ahead of the Elise cannon. That's not supposed to happen, by the way.
No, it's not. That was... Did that feel wrong coming out of your mouth there? Even saying that one? Definitely sounded a little bit weird to me, but very well done. Meliodas potentially going to make us look like liars already. Could show us up on this Lee Sin. So far he's gone mid, got a flash, gone top, got a flash and a kill. We're all looking pretty good.
Early game for Lee Sin.
Yeah.
Yeah, just please...
there we go, Zhu Hao. Prediction online. The download is complete. Null is read like a book. And that's a counter kill here, and it went on to Yardo. Very important.
And I love this jungle matchup. Meliodas against his acolyte, against the rookie that was brought up behind his
apprentice.
Now he's on a different team. Apprentice, yeah.
Which one's Obi-Wan and which one's Anakin? I guess it has to be Zhu Hao's Anakin because...
Yeah. Yep.
We'll have to see if Meliodas can maintain the high ground, and he'll get a good start towards that with the Infernal Drake. So overall, pretty even early game. Only the first Blood Gold really making a difference. So very slight lead for DBL, looking much better than last game already.
Oh yeah, you can
Not
say
hard,
that again.
not hard, but
not only in draft, also in game. Yeah,
yeah.
They had to step up the draft, which they did. Now, way easier to execute draft, easier to execute than Cerberus as well, and way easier to execute than their last draft, which was quite something. Still don't think it was a bad draft. Still very hard to execute draft, and maybe not the minor region draft.
I think it was a good game one draft.
Yeah, that's a fair point as well. Just see what you can do with a harder to execute draft. If you win the game, then you can do whatever you want in the next game.
Pun is going for the solo kill here. Has done a lot of damage. Brings in the Ornhorn. Forces the slicing Maelstrom. Shouldn't be able to get anyone, but he flashes. He wants it. And in the end, just uses the flash. Very, very bold. But does win the trade pretty hard. Oh, except for using his flash, of course.
Ongoing for the solo kill is against the cannon. I guess maybe if he had Ignite, he could have got there. He has Spellbook, but it sadly didn't swap over to the Ignite. Has Barrier instead, which I guess is good against potential dives. But now Ken still had to had to use his ult there, so he has no pressure in lane, and On will be fine even without the flash. Potentially even against the gank. There's double AP threat coming from the gank, so you can tank for a long time as On here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rono P having a bit of a wander into the mid lane, just says, "Hi, can I hit this cannon?" and then leaves. Okay. He was looking for a pick, didn't come. Take a little bit of gold. Bot lane is fine after all. Good to see this Blitzcrank trying to get a little bit of roaming on, has the boots of mobility. Still nothing really coming of the pick yet.
Yep, I mean, he still has time. He hit the few very good grabs in the early game. And I think this matchup in the bot lane is just pretty much a handshake matchup. You can't do a whole lot there. Both ADCs have strong burst, a little bit of CC, and both supports have good hooks to engage. But both are very tanky as well, so it's actually very hard to get kills here. Maybe if a support wanders out of lane, and then the enemy support hides somewhere and goes for a quick engage, could look for a 2v1 kill, but I don't think we'll see a lot of 2v2 kills, especially looking at the timer already. Of course, we are past 2v2 laning phase stage, so.
Yep, and it is Shelly being grabbed up here for Cerberus. They're going to try and go in on Pun. Does get bound up. The Cocoon hits as well. Has the barrier from the spellbook. Will blow the Ornhorn to potentially buy a bit of time, but he will go down. Will Meliodas continue in on that queue? I don't think it's a good idea. It's a 4v3. The Flash Cocoon does well. The hook did not hit the wall. High has to get out, but here comes the Chakrams. Rono P flashing away. Yardo arrives. Here. High should be going down, and the hook onto Meliodas. Bringing him in from downtown Colorado into the middle of the Cerberus team, and what a massive swing that was for them.
Yeah, and not only do they get the objective, they get a lot of that with kills, and now into after double kill already. So this ADC is far ahead of the enemy of the counterpart. So 2 great grabs for Rono P, or hooks, whatever.
Both work. Ooh, Yardo goes in and just solo kills. All right.
Tristana mid lane, go play her. She's great.
She feels
great. It's a lot of fun.
That was very strong.
Oh. Yeah, he missed his Demolish proc for the first time, but he came back to use it afterwards. It's a little bit weird to use Demolish on Tristana closer to the turret than you want to with your auto attack range. It's quite strange, but look at this again. So very foolish mistake from Pan. He saw the enemy team. He had a pink ward in the pit. He should have backed off there. Thought he was a little bit tankier. He lived for a long time, but not long enough. Then, yeah, I mean, the positioning here is just awful for DBL. First flash comes in. They try to turn around the first attempt here. Good jump over the wall for Yardo, and look at this grab.
Bang, woo-hoo. Max range. That's the Blitzcrank buff.
That is the buff, indeed. That wouldn't have hit a few months ago, but now it does. And now Blitzcrank is actually quite a good pick in competitive as well. A lot of
over
players
a
still
lot.
haven't quite get used. Didn't quite get used yet. So I'm not sure. Did you get used to the Blitzcrank grab already? Range already? I'm still.
You're asking a top laner if he's used to the Blitzcrank
Okay.
matchup.
That's fair.
I don't see him too often.
And also, if Blitzcrank grabs your set or Mordekaiser, you're more
Exactly.
whatever.
Exactly. I'm a set one trick. If Blitzcrank is grabbing me, I think I did my job, honestly. Because it was probably aimed at someone else.
That's fair. So 2k gold lead now for Cerberus. Very strong mid laner. He has been able to get solo kills. I said Null should be fine in this matchup. Seems to not be too accustomed to what Tristana can do, because Tristana, you should know Tristana can solo kill at that point, especially with Ignite available as well. Hit all the combos, hit the W slow to get more auto attacks in, then finished off with E, ult combination and Ignite. So Null had no chance. Didn't back off quickly enough, and now is forced to go for the early hex arm guard, so no cooldown reduction.
Ooh, Gravitum ult used.
Tristana.
Are they going to try and get onto LL here? Has the ult, should be able to get away. Not sure if they needed to force that so hard, but it does get them pretty hard lane priority top. Unfortunately, it's answered by much harder.
The mid lane, though. Yep.
The mid lane.
So luckily for them, it's the bulwark mechanic for the plating. They should be able to catch up in terms of damage on the turret. That's after some time.
Very, very rare that first brick is in the mid lane.
That's very true. Yeah, and look at that. It's also being quite ridiculous.
Oh man, Aphelios. Are they going to get the... Oh, no, the hook. The guessing hook. Oh, High actually could have gotten away there. That spider was not going to interrupt his recall, and now he died.
Why are you there?
I don't know why he was there. That's a great question. But he would have gotten out, I think.
I know why. He didn't want to the gold away. So he tried to dodge around to give the solo gold to his ADC, and that cost him his life. So he actually gave over more gold to the enemy team. In that case, steal the gold. It's better to steal the gold than to just give the gold over to the enemy team. That's always the worst option. And I know your ADC will flame you for stealing the gold, but
I think they'll flame you just as hard to die.
Indeed.
Regardless, you're getting set on fire. As the top lane tower does go down now.
Another turret, and look at the gold lead. It's 3k again for Cerberus, right at the 40-minute mark. Last game they were even farther ahead, but this game they had to play through very much a bad start, right? They got caught in the top lane, came back, and Cerberus looks like the much more proactive team today.
Absolutely. I think your analysis that maybe DBL slept on Cerberus a little bit. Obviously, the Flash matchup yesterday was probably what they were practicing for much more. And potentially they've been caught out. They didn't seem ready for Cerberus. Cerberus have looked like the better team.
Yeah, Cerberus has looked not only like the better team today, they just look great today.
Yep.
Like straight up, like a very good team. Very aggressive in the early game. Their drafts have been experimental, I'd say, but so far it has worked out for them. So why not, right? Double ADC, always risky, but always can of course give you a lot as well, because ADCs are very strong in solo lanes most of the time, especially Tristana. Yeah. Cannon, another ranged champ. They have a very, very much a ranged composition here. Very squishy, as I said before. You need to get ahead to win team fights, and they got ahead. So now they have a lot of explosive damage, strong items on their ADCs, and yeah, Cannon is right in the game as well. I mean, I don't quite know about Cannon's power spikes, I have to say.
Artemis using the Featherstorm and the Flash to get away from the potential engage.
Yeah, ult for ult trade.
And a flash for a flash. Makes sense. Still,
so Cannon...
potentially Artemis a little bit exposed if they want to fight around this Rift Herald. I don't think they
more should. Standing gold trade for Dragon, potentially. Okay.
Dragon's a minute away.
Yep, I just realized that as well.
Not the time is
it's
now.
Just Shelly for nothing. So another good trade for Cerberus. Or Shirley, I should say. So second Rift Herald doesn't really give you too much gold most of the time, but gives you a little bit of priority in one of the lanes. So some people just drop it somewhere to create a pressure point and then go to the other side of the map to have 2 lanes pushing. So it's kind of like creating another split pusher, which is a strategy I really like to see on Shirley. But you can also just push down a turret without her. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, double ADCs. They take towers pretty quickly, especially when one of them's Tristana.
Indeed.
RonOP doing a really good job zoning. Overall, that was just a really well-executed push. Nothing DBL can really do. I'm not going to get really anything in exchange. Just Cerberus kind of choking them out.
I know it's very minor, but he pulled that backport off, even though minions were right beside him. So great attack moving from Artemis to not get his mid laner, give his mid laner aggro, because those things, I think, aggro whoever is closest to them, right? They don't really care about who's attacking them. So
based on that, but DBL will be able to fire back. They should be able to get a dragon, but now they lose inside track. Cerberus is saying,
this is a lot of gold.
Cerberus is saying, what? You got a Cloud Drake. Good job, man. We're going to take you to the tower. We're going to hook your Nautilus. The Ornhorn is blown, but Nautilus, there was a Nautilus in this game? I don't know. It doesn't look like it. DBL just has to get the hell out of there. Null did manage to kill Shirley to make this inhib tower.
No, suddenly they're threatening an inhibitor.
Yep.
18 minutes.
The Infernum ult does not much.
Nope. So another great hook for RonOP so far. Early front runner for MVP together with Yado, I'd say. Yado with a solo kill, RonOP with great hooks. So a little bit of one of the games where you want to award MVP to players because everyone played a great game, like the last game as well, right? So Cerberus today, just a great team performance. Everyone is stepping up. This game a little bit quieter in the top lane for LL. Got almost solo killed by Pan, but he's still in the game and is still providing a lot for his team. So not to discredit him or anything, but I think last game he had a great game. This game it's more on his mid laner and his support. And of course, once again, Zuhao smurfing on Elise pretty much. Still no death this series.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking... I mean, Zuhao, you've almost got to start banning the Elise against him. Obviously, yeah. DBL might not get a chance to ban it in this series if things continue the way they're going. But other teams have to be looking at this and saying, Jesus, Cerberus, when they've got this Elise, they look pretty good.
He actually reminded me a lot of Blabber today. Or Blaber? Or what is his name? Blabber, I think, right? Yeah. A very aggressive early pathing the Elise got. So, yeah, very good to see Zuhao. Zuhao was always also one of those early game junglers. He's very good on those picks. Very strong Rek'Sai, very strong Elise. Decent Lee Sin as well. So, good to see him stick to his guns and create good opportunities for his team to carry him later on when his picks fall off a little bit more. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think there's a pretty good chance that the other picks will be able to carry him here. The gold is going, I mean, pretty much exactly where you want it to. Elise getting a little bit of early gold so she can continue to snowball. And then both your ADCs get 2 kills. Respectively 2,000 gold up in their matchups. A little bit less in the bot lane, about 1,300. But overall, looking incredible for Cerberus. How does DBL get back into this? Oh, potentially with the big ult combo, Graviton being used. A lot of damage onto Yado. He goes down pretty much straight away, but look at this cannon ult in the middle of the enemy team. It's doing so much. High gets melted. Pun now has to run. They've got the Cloud Drake zone to speed up, and it's a double kill for Artemis and another one fight for Cerberus. Oh, Nor potentially wants to make it even, but goes into the stopwatch. Hook is available, forces the flash. Oh, no, again! Of damage, playing it a little bit cheeky.
So, they were able to catch up Yado. Yado had his flash, but was not able to react in time. So, good pick for DBL. In the end, they're just weak compared to the enemy to really make it stick and win the team fight afterwards. They still lose two players. Pan in a very bad situation right now because he itemized for laning phase, obviously, with early Abyssal Mask, but now is running into the problem of having 2 fat ADCs on the enemy team who are just shredding through him. So he's not the tanky on we have seen before.
And he's about to make
only
a
sitting
huge
on like
mistake.
150 armor roughly, and that's not enough right now. Also, as you want to point out, yeah, go ahead. I'll
don't worry.
give that point to you.
Fair enough. He's building Frozen Fist. Why?
Yeah.
Why would you not build Forgefire Cape?
If you stick with us from the LCK, didn't go back to LCK stream. So insert rant about Frozen Fist and Morello's second on cannon. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. We can, if you hear from the LCK, if they're still on pause, which would be insane, but if they are, we can do your best LS impression, as there is both a Frozen Fist and a Morello in, which have to talk about Void Staff a little bit.
I can't speak as high as and high pitch as he does. Though,
rough.
No, that's not like he just has a much higher voice than I do. I think.
Yeah, LCK broadcast team, pretty solid, honestly. Got some of the better casters.
I love them. Yeah, they're great.
They have a really fun style, which contrasts the LCK.
Yeah, they are basically the only reason to be honest. Who cares about the teams? Who cares about Faker? So another dragon over to Cerberus. We have hit a little bit of a lull state. Very fitting to our conversation about the LCK, to be honest.
Yeah, they're listening.
But yeah, it's 6k gold lead almost for Cerberus. They are very
high. Interesting hook there. Does manage to hit it. Uses the Dredge. That was a completely unnecessary. I thought that was a Featherstorm. It was actually just getting bounced very high in the air.
Yeah, very bad target calling.
Yeah.
Don't use that ultimate on the Xayah with everything available. Just try to get the Blitzcrank, who doesn't have his flash available. That was just a big mistake from High. I don't think they could have locked down the kill, but still bad to see for future team fights. Don't tunnel vision on the ADC.
They've made the wrong call.
This is not a silver game with all the focus calls. That's not what is going on here. You need to get one kill. And the Xayah has her ult, so don't funnel your Dredge line or the ult. Riptide?
Riptide is the Q.
Whatever the ult is called.
Depth Charge.
Depth Charge. There we go. On
Riptide
the
is the E.
Xayah. Fair enough.
I used to play a lot of Nautilus jump back when that was a thing. Really fun.
Nautilus top is what you should do. Yeah. Raid boss, that is.
Very true. Nautilus is just a fun champion.
Oh, double Morellos. Come on, guys. Why double Morellos?
Oh, no. Why is that happening? That's so silly.
Of course. I mean, they were probably tilted from seeing Bikoro heal on level 1 trade. So like, oh, we need to cut down that heal. There's no other source of healing in the enemy team, but it's still enough. We need double Morellos to stop him.
We got to get a Mortal Reminder in as well.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Just make sure that there's absolutely no healing out of this red gun. For Aphelios, still, no, itemization choices aside, Cerberus still very far ahead. The Frozen Fist has been completed though. That is one saving grace for DBL. If Cerberus fumbles the close, they do have a chance of coming back on the ornaments.
Yeah, absolutely. They catch up very quickly in gold in terms of... not in terms of overall team gold, but in terms of effective itemization stats with the ornaments. You have the Molten Edge. That's a pretty good ornament. The Ludens, whatever it's called, Ludens on item, which is a decent ornament. I think if you want to wait for the Death Cap upgrade, you can do that as well. But Death Crown, yeah, there we go. And Black Cleaver upgrade for Meliodas, not bad either. So there's a lot of stats sitting in the next few levels. And Papan is actually already level 14, but there's no player on his team with an upgradable item yet.
Yeah,
so
that's a mistake.
Still sitting on 2 upgrades.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because Meliodas was probably meant to be the first one.
Never mind, you can actually upgrade the Ludens, of course.
Of course, yeah, but they might want to wait, possibly.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure if I agree on that.
So another one of those famous damage checks. Not enough damage right now compared to the tankiness. They have a little bit of a struggle to tank the Baron without lifesteal on their ADCs, so I think they have to wait for the next either to get a kill or 2 kills and then just take a safe Baron where you can lose HP, or you have to wait for itemization choices for your ADCs to come in with a lot of lifesteal. If they can lifesteal off Baron, the Baron gets way easier. So that's okay. There's one lifesteal item, of course, already completed for Yado, but that's not enough. Yeah, just
Not quite.
I know. But it's also okay, bot lane. There's a fight happening.
Yep, LL does use the ult. The Ornhorn being blown as well. Conqueror is stacked, so could potentially get some healing. Oh, Ron OP. Bit of a dangerous hook because it was where LL was going, but it doesn't matter because Artemis is in the back, and Ron OP gets the kill. But regardless of that, it is the dead Ornn. Dragon coming up in 45
feel
seconds.
Super bad about this game. He's actually smashing his lane opponent time and time again. His team has no agency on the map. They can't go for Baron while he drawing 3 members, and it's just a free kill. It's just an isolated death. Looks very bad on your KDA. Looks bad on your stat card.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, can he do anything else there? He kind of has to push out a few minutes there. Maybe don't go for the aggressive fight if you know that your team can't follow. So definitely a little bit of fault for him. He's available in 10 seconds though, 7 seconds now.
Yeah, it does have the TP. 5k on the Baron. They're going to turn for the fight. Down goes High just immediately. Null tried to go in. I looked it up, by the way. It's the Luden's Pulse.
Luden's Pulse.
Bit weird. Really related. But regardless.
Isn't it pulsating or whatever the English word is?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, or your heart has a pulse.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not terrible.
But
on topic, though, there is a Baron fight. As there's the Ornhorn being used. Yado, though, getting out to some good distance. That's a decent Infernal ult, but it doesn't matter because Pun is just instantly dead, and that suddenly there is absolutely no front line. But they do dissuade the Baron. 1 kill to stop Baron.
And they get priority for the Dragon. This should actually be Dragon for the DBL here.
Potentially.
Oh, it looks like Cerberus read the situation like I did, so they didn't want to full reset, because a full reset would have been free Dragon for the enemy team. Zhu Hao stayed on the map, even though he was low on HP, just to have the smite in the vicinity, which I think is a good call. Right now, Cerberus is struggling to close out the game. They are trying to go for the Baron. I don't think Baron is actually that great a call. Just accelerate the Dragon and try to fight through the team fighting buffs. And also, it's very easier to take the Dragons than the Baron. Right now, they are just a little bit too squishy to take the Baron safely, so...
Yep.
Yeah, maybe try to focus on the Dragons. Also, you don't really have to worry about item... I mean, a little bit about scaling, because of the on items, but to be completely honest, you still have 2 ADCs, double crit scaling, and cannon as well, so you don't really have to close out the game in the next 5 minutes or something, so you have a little bit of leeway, a little bit of time to think about the situation, and maybe don't go for Hail Mary Barons, because you don't need to. Just close out the series.
Yep. Ophelia is beginning to look a little bit scary, though. It does have the 3 items, including the Molten Edge. So we could see Big Koro potentially get something done, but he is obviously still super far behind, and they're back on the Baron. Look how many zombie wards there are in the pit. It's an absolute graveyard, and it just looks like DBL doesn't make the call on this one. They don't know. They lack critical information, and this should be a really, really free Baron. Cerberus finally get it.
Good show for Cannon in the mid lane. I think they thought they were close by, because Cannon was very far up in the mid lane.
Yep.
But a good bluff from Cerberus, and this time, even though Meliodas was only 2 screens away, could have gone for the steal, but didn't know what happened. And now finally they locked down the Baron. 4 minutes to Soul. This Baron should lead to at least 1 inhibitor. Mid lane is already broken open, so they just have to collect the inhibitor. IE build up now for Yado. 4th item already built for Artemis, so they are in a very strong spot in terms of itemization. So even though now Molten Edge is here, Luden's Pulse is here, as well as the Black Cleaver upgrade soon to be completed, I don't think it's enough against Baron or the itemization on the other team.
Absolutely. They also can turn the Baron map control that'll get them into potentially the Cloud Soul. Cloud Soul, pretty good for them, honestly. Will make Elise very, very speedy. Pretty good on all Transform champions. Overall, just pretty good for their comp.
Great on Xayah. It's such a great stall. It's potentially the best soul for Zaya. Maybe even better than. Gives you so much mobility.
There's the hook. High again, just melting. 0-6-0. Went down that quickly despite having a gargoyles. The redemption will be used. Infernum ult again. Big Coro, I feel like you've got to start using a different ult, buddy. As they go. Oh, no. Not quite enough, but they do get all the distance they need. We'll take the in
here.
here.
The wave.
Yep, I think they're going to look for the game, and I don't think there's anything DBL can do to stop them. So in a very, very unexpected twist of fate, it will be Cerberus taking a dominant 2-0 over DBL.
It's not only a 2-0, it's they stomped them 2 games in a row. Yep. Early game, DBL kind of rolled over and died, but now also Cerberus applied a lot of pressure. Looked like his top-tier team here in the VCS after struggles in the first 2 weeks. Finally, they've come to their, I guess, what people were talking about when they talked about Cerberus's potential.
Yeah.
Great to see. Just a little bit disappointed in DBL, of course. Pan had a rough game on. Way too overzealous, way too over-aggressive on his engages. He wasn't tanky enough, and he didn't realize how not tanky he was in this game. Just got melted teamfight after teamfight, and his backline carries waited for a good front line, but the front line was already dead when they arrived to the fight. So bad coordination, maybe a little bit of miscommunication, because Pan is not the starting top laner as well. Maybe they still need to gel a little bit more.
Also,
there were a lot of problems in those 2 games.
Yeah, I feel like it's worth saying High had an absolute clanger of a second game. That Nautilus was awful.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it. He was 0-6-0 at the end. He might have even died a 7th time. I'm not sure. He had a gargoyles that he wasn't pressing. Might not have had chances to press it, to be fair.
No, he didn't get to Aftershock either. He just got grabbed, CC, perma-CC'd, insta-died. So no gargoyles, no Aftershock, and then suddenly the Nautilus is very squishy.
Absolutely. So, we do have to pick an MVP for Game 2. It's hard, because there were a lot of MVPs.
I know what the official stream will do, of course. Artemis,
yep.
I think, went deathless and had a very good KDA. But I honestly think he just last hit here. A good game from Artemis, nonetheless. Good laning phase, but did he really do anything to win this game for his team?
I think so. I mean, I think he was definitely part of it. I'm leaning towards Yardo.
Of course.
I'm honestly leaning towards Yardo. A really good Tristana performance.
Solo kills, yeah.
And did a lot of damage in fights. Yeah. Ronop, oh, true, actually. There were some game-breaking hooks.
They were very good hooks.
We've been deviating from our pattern of support MVP, so maybe we have to go Ron-OP.
Yeah, I mean, Blitzcrank is always very flashy. And you kind of always tend to give the winning Blitzcrank the MVP. But it is also a very high risk champ, and the reward in this game was high as well. He hit this the crucial hook in the top lane fight to get another kill on Meliodas. He hit high, I think, 4 or 5 times in this game. It always resulted in a kill. Yeah. It's between Yardo and Ronop, in my opinion. Yardo with the solo kills, that's not easy to do either, especially against null LB.
Yeah, I feel like solo killing the LB is a strong argument.
Yeah.
But so was that hook in the top lane. I'm leaning towards Ron OP. I think he deserves it.
I think so too. So Ron OP is actually leading the charts here for Cerberus. 3rd MVP on our list. I think 2 previous MVPs were for Honor play. Now it's for Blitzcrank play. He's looking like one of the best supports on the league.
Yeah, absolutely he is. Hopefully Cerberus can continue this kind of form, because they will be an absolute challenger. But that is the end of our first series. I don't think there's much more to say. DBL
went by very quickly.
Yeah, DBL just the absolute collapse.
Yeah, rough scheduling for them. We have to give them a little bit of leeway, I think. Coming back from a Saturday drawn-out series loss against Flash that was kind of unfortunate as well in some aspects, to going to Sunday, first series of the day, is pretty rough. Maybe their mental was not reset properly, and Cerberus had a great day today as well. So I'm willing to cut them a little bit of slack. I'm willing to wait with my final judgment of them. But now they're their schedule has not looked great. If you look at their wins, they have won against Team Secret and against FTV, but all the big challenges, Flash
Apart.
and now Cerberus, they've lost.
Yep.
And
But-
Gum, they haven't even played Gum yet, so
Yeah. Yeah, it's not looking great, but we will sign off for our first series. Next series, we do have a very interesting game. Team Secret will be put to the test against the Kings of Vietnam, that is GAM. We'll have to see if they
summer
can stand up.
semi-final rematch.
Yep, we'll have to see if they can bounce, not so much bounce back, but continue to get their roll on against GAM. A very, very big test for Secret. We'll be back.
Fight
probably-
for first place, actually.
It's going to be hard to know how long the break's going to be. As soon as there's a timer, I will put one up. But it might be a bit of a long one because of the shortness of that
Very
series.
quick.
But then again,
Yeah.
there's no crowd, so it should just be 20 minutes or so. See you guys then. Thanks for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. And we'll see you guys very, very soon.
Yep. See you soon.